Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to make a double fan fold, but I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. I have the shirt turned inside out, and using a washable marker and an old piece of sinew, I'm going to draw an arc on one corner of the shirt and the opposite shoulder of the shirt. So normally whenever I do a design like this, I just fold the shirt in half diagonally and draw an arc on the shoulder of the shirt and basically fold both the shoulder of the shirt and the hem of the shirt or the corner of the shirt at the same time. This time I'm going to do them independently because I want to use two different color palettes. I've been wanting to experiment with this for a while and see how well it works to fold it this way and use the two different colors. Once I have each of the lines fan folded, I'm going to hold the folds in place with some kite string. Once I have the initial line tied, I'm going to continue the fan folds out toward the center or the very end of each one of these folds. I'm also going to extend the fan folds out just a little bit beyond that initial line. Not all the way down the shirt though. I'm expecting the colors to meet in the middle of the shirt, so I'm going to try to use two color palettes that will blend well together. On one end of the shirt, I'm going to use blue, and on the other end, I'm going to use purple. And all the colors that I'm using on this shirt, I purchased from Die Spin. I'm going to use a metal shelving rack for this shirt. I've placed it on top, and then on the second shelf, I'm going to end up placing a plastic container to catch any of the runoff from the melting ice and dye. On the left-hand side of the screen is the bottom of the shirt or the corner of the shirt. On the right hand is the shoulder of the shirt. So on the corner of the shirt, I'm going to place the blue dye. I'm going to use Wild Chicory, Ice Dye Blue, and Blue Linen from Die Spin. And I'm going to apply the dye in stripes. Then on the purple end, I'm using Lavender Fields, Royal Purple, English Violet, and Vintage Purple. I'm going to apply the dye the same way on this end. I'm going to leave the main portion of the shirt or the center part of the shirt totally white. I'm hoping that the dye will kind of creep together and meet in the middle. I'm going to put a generous amount of dry soda ash over the top and then add on the ice cubes. I didn't make myself an ice barrier, and I probably should have. The purple end did okay because the fold was a little bit wider, but the other end, where I used the blue dye, it was really tough to keep the ice on that portion of the shirt. It kept wanting to fall off. Thankfully, the 2-inch ice cubes are a little bit too big to fall through this metal rack or shelving unit. After the ice melted, this is a pretty thin fold, so I didn't really need to add any more, but I had a couple areas of the shirt where there was quite a bit of undissolved dye, so I added an ice cube here and there. After the ice melted, while the shirt was still damp, I put it inside of a plastic container that has a metal rack down in the bottom. I didn't want to leave it out and exposed to the heat without having ice or spraying it with soda ash because I don't want it to dry out. Once a shirt dries out, the dye will quit reacting. And so if it hasn't had long enough to react and bond properly with the shirt's not going to be as bright and vibrant. So I put it inside of the plastic container and I put the lid on the container and then I left it out in the heat. It was about 95 degrees that day. So the shirt just kind of sat in the container and steamed. When I opened up the lid, it was very steamy and the shirt was actually pretty warm. I did have it in the direct sun, but because the lid is an opaque lid, the sunlight can't go through to the shirt, so it's not going to damage it or bleach it out in any way. I think I left the shirt for probably about 18 hours. I didn't need to leave it the full normal 24 because it was so hot. I took the shirt to my utility sink and I started rinsing it the way I normally do, in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. Then I untied the shirt and warmed the water up to hot and continue rinsing to rinse out any of the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. Instead of continuing to rinse in hot water until the water was running almost clear, I put the shirt along with just a little bit of Blue Dawn dish detergent into a container full of hot water and allowed the shirt to soak. When the water in the container cooled off, I changed it out and continued that soaking process until the water was almost clear. I've included a couple photos of the soaking process at the end of this rinse out so that you can see quite a bit of dye does come out in those hot water soaks. When the water was almost clear, I put the shirt along with some Dharma's professional textile detergent into my washing machine and washed it using a hot water cycle. Okay, so the shirt has been washed and dried, and here's what it looks like. Okay, so what do you think? I think this one looks cool. It turned out looking pretty much the way I thought it would. The colors did kind of meet in the middle, and because I used color palettes that work well together, where they met, it looks really good. I do have some white left on the shirt, which I don't mind. I expected to probably have some white left on the shirt. I actually thought that the colors would blend together a little more than they did though. I might have had a little bit more blending if I would have added some more ice, especially up on the top of the shirt or the area that's purple. I think that purple dye right at the very edge, it doesn't seem quite as light and wispy as the blue does that's on the edge. But I think that purple part where it kind of wisps into the white looks really cool. It almost looks like feathers. It's a neat effect. So I'm glad I tried this experiment. Like I said, I've wanted to do it several times, but just hadn't gotten around to it. And I think it's kind of cool to add 2 separate color palettes on the different fanfold areas. But what do you guys think? Drop me a comment down below and let me know. And if you've enjoyed watching me experiment with this shirt, I sure would appreciate it if you would like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.